Okay, doing a report in on this beautiful Friday afternoon, September the 3rd, 2021. So, covering off our activities. Now, I haven't really discussed this in any of the past videos, but of course, we cut into this mountainside here. Now, the clients own this whole mountain up above us here. It's a sizable piece of property going right into the forest. But this was decided to be the first building site here. And so there was, years ago somebody did a little cut here. Well, we expanded the cut about, 10, 12 times, I would say. So one of that catches is, how do you deal with, a cut into a mountainside? So we have to go in there, cut that out, and move that mountain down here. So at the front here we have a shitload of fill. Whether that's metric or English, it's a shitload. And certainly was a concern from the word get-go and what we do to handle that. Now, certainly the back of the here is in virgin territory. This land has been sitting here for a few million years. So it's solid, but it's still, how do you control? Because the big issue is you've got all this water up this mountain washing down here, and your house is in front of that inundation of water. Not a good plan. And I've got a situation like this at our house in Escazú that's just basically an unfixable disaster because the architect was an idiot and backed the house right into a hillside without doing any control of it. And that led to a mudslide coming down there a couple of years before Anna and I met. And of course, if you have a mudslide come down behind the house after it's built, a little complicated. But anyways, what we're doing here to stop that is, of course, we've terraced this cut, which is basically not quite 20 feet, between 15 and 20 feet. Well, and of course a rounded hill, it varies quite a bit. But anyways, the big thing here was we created terraces. So when water comes down, we put a cut. We cut a trench up at the top here to hijack the water that's coming down there and send it out to the street. So that took a lot of the water that was otherwise coming down on this property, no longer comes down here. It takes a detour. And that's the whole point here, is how do you make the water detour? You can't stop it from raining in San Carlos. All you can do is control the water and what you do with it. So we created these terraces. Now those terraces have been formed into a natural gutter, so that if we walk around the end here, you can see where, so if that water's coming down, it comes down and then it hits whichever gutter this is, and that sloped off of the hill. So that naturally comes across there. So we've got basically 3 gutters here, taking the water, collecting it, and sending it around the house and continuing on its way. Just over there, sort of over that, is the river. Unfortunately, the mixer is running, so it's kind of drowning out the natural hum of the river there. Now, of course, we made this point out here and come out here. Now, this is all fill. I mean, here, some places we've got 5 to 8 feet of fill in places that we pushed over there. So I was a little bit shocked at how fast it started eroding, but anyways, we put a stop to that because you got 3 things going. Again, cutting channels going horizontally across the cut so that the water gets directed, because water's going to take its fastest exit, which means it's going to take the much dirt. We had one heavy rain here and this dropped a half a meter, 20 inches in one weekend. So anyways, I got busy and got a whole roll of geotextile in here. So first step is you cut your horizontal terraces here, so you divert the water sideways. You run the water going this way, across the hill, never down the hill. That's a kiss of death. Okay, then you put the geotextile to fix down the soil, and of course super critical because this is all fill, and it's going to take 4 years for this thing to settle, and there's going to be parts here that are going to drop a good foot as God takes its course and spend 4 years to compact this. Okay, now number 3 instrument in the orchestra is we have planted vetiver grass. We just started that yesterday, so that's all going to grow up. Now this grass puts a taproot down like 6 feet, so that anchors it down. And then of course we cut holes in the geotextile so it really fixes that geotextile. We've got metal pins all over the post here. We've gone through 240 lineal meters of pins so far. And not quite done on this piece, and this is one entire roll of geotextile. So this is being more how do you handle mountain slopes and whatnot than just an update in this project. But this is what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks here. So anyways, this is almost finished. So your 3 parts are control the direction and amount of the flow of the water. The second one is geotextile, and the third one is getting something there that's going to anchor down the hillside with tap roots. And vetiver or BT Brie is one of the best plants for that. Oh, and of course you get to look at green pretty quick. And of course doing it in August, I mean we got a lot of rainy season left, so that'll be well anchored before we get into summer. You don't do this in summer. Okay, so continuing on, today is basically the wrap up of our concrete phase of the project. You know, and as I've been reporting, I mean we've got 4 pilings under the front of this slab to make sure, and that's down into virgin soil. So we've got something there to support this up, aside from a lot of aggregate here and a whole lot of compaction having gone on and driving pins in it. Here I can certainly test the fact that we've got a solid base underneath this, but the thing is you still want something underneath there that's in terra firma. So that's what this column's picking up, but there's a plaque underneath that, a plate underneath that, and then underneath the plate is a piling going down 5 feet to get us into. So now the clients wanted an exposed aggregate look on all of the exterior walkways. Part is for look, and the second thing is polished concrete, of course, is quite slippery, whereas this is not quite slippery. So this is the carport here now, and everything here is done in sloping accordingly. Like this sidewalk is sloping away from the house out that way. The carport and walk are sloping back away from the house and into this built-in gutter made as part of the floor. So this was done yesterday. Now this, as you can tell, well, we're just finishing it here today. So that gutter control is on, and now we're going to take sectional, what we call cunetas here, concrete gutters, and go down to the street from there to carry the water away from it. There you can see where it goes up the terraces and how it's sloping backwards, so the water can't flow over the top. And then at the end, we channel it down where we want it to go. So controlling the operation. Now this sidewalk here is all sloping that way. Now when this one's going both ways, it's sloping out and over. So this is the driveway, the car's going to come in here. Now we have an outdoor shower here, so that has a funnel shape. The 1 meter around that drain there is all funnel shape, so the water will go down there. Here we've got a channel cut in the floor for the patio door, so the traffic goes down. Otherwise those channels stick up, in my humble opinion, way too much. here we've raised up the level of the sidewalk because this is going to be this outdoor terrace here, covered terrace, is going to have tile on it, so we wanted those at the same level. So that's actually lifted up there, and that's a pipe for a gas line for the barbecue. Well, here's another channel for a folding door to go in here. Right now it becomes a nice little lake. And I don't know that there's anything more really to cover off from this week's work. Now here we've still got some more gravel and fill to come in here, but we've polished off the edges of this. But much of that, is going to come up with black dirt for a bit of a side garden here. This is our, well, anybody's been following, this of course is where all the septic tanks are buried, and then the parking out there. So we've got gravel, or fine gravel to bring in here when after our concrete has the time to cure. Anyway, so this is 11 minutes. Oh, well, I am going to continue a little bit longer and walk out to the carry on with my adventures in the jungle. Okay, so we've cut this down already. Okay, here's our channel coming down from, take the water off the upper levels and come down here. So this, we're going to put the cunetas, concrete sectional ones, going down here to carry all of this water off of this part of the mountain, which falls here, and off the driveway sloping over. So it comes down here and then collects to a turnabout, collects in this hopper here and heads across under the road and down the driveway. Now what we hadn't quite calculated, and it's never, well, it's kind of a good news, bad news scenario. Okay, here's one of those culvert gutter sections. Now this, it turns out this is smaller than I want for here and bigger than for the other driveway. See, we cut this dirt channel up here to take the relief off the house and give it a detour around, but it's coming down here so viciously in storms that it's washing away the road, which is obviously not the plan. So that's a 15-inch. I've ordered 18-inch gutters to control this water and to harden this surface up so that it doesn't take away a pretty expensive road. There's a collection container there, and it cuts across here, and that water takes part of the water down to the river that's just past those trees. Now it's overflowing that even, and it's spilling over and eating the road here. So we don't want that either. So I'm going to put an 18-inch gutter to go from here to there and give a hard surface that we'll harden this edge up so that every time we get a heavy storm, like the one of these did the most damage, it rained here, just poured for like 3 hours straight one Saturday. And then it did the same thing the very next Saturday. So this is not really house building, but living in the tropics, it is about controlling the elements in your favor. So here we've got a very steep drop off of the driveway, this Y turn into the driveway. So we've got to harden that up. It will just eat away and eat away. So it's just gravity nature, so we have to harden it up. So these spots, and well, so we're using very expensive rocks to give this kind of a natural look and harden so that it isn't, otherwise it's just going to eat a huge hole here. So we were out collecting rocks to take and harden that up. And then, well, this water goes down, and then there's another culvert that cuts across the road going on down to the river. So anyways, thought I would bring that in as part of today's update on the concrete phase of the project. So we're slowly but we're surely waking our way out of the pigsty of mud and constant, pouring concrete plus the time to get rid of mud exactly. Water seems to be kind of an important ingredient in that formula. But anyways, we're literally on the last minutes of this. This is, we're around 19-20 cubic meters of concrete that we poured through. And really some of the very best concrete we've ever made, and certainly the slabs with the fibrous in them, that is definitely by far the best that we've ever used in any slab. And anyway, with that, I will sign off on today's edition. A little jungle experience here.